WND Live. It is Wednesday, July 24, 2024. Welcome to the program, everybody. The news is fast. Benjamin Netanyahu is here in the United States. He arrived this week, and surprisingly, nobody was there from the administration to greet him as he is set to deliver a speech today, which we may or may not cut to. We're going to keep tabs on his speech in front of Congress today. He is up on the Capitol. Also, Biden has finally reemerged, so we have video of that, and we're going to dive into that as well. And then, of course, the fallout from the shooting on July 13, J13 is what I'm hearing is the new way we refer to this. We'll see if that sticks or not. But the fallout continues. Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, is up on Capitol Hill today, and there's more video that has come out from that day. There's more questions being asked and a lot of questions not being answered. So we're going to get right to that. But first, let's bring up our panel here. We have David Brummer in Israel, as well as Elizabeth Farah, and of course Josh Turnbow. And folks, let's show this video real quickly of Netanyahu arriving in the United States, emerging from his plane. This was normally, I think, you have somebody at least from the administration here to greet a foreign leader when they come to our, they're coming here on an official visit.
These are not normal times, Matt Edwards.
You're right. Let's look at this video here. And to my understanding, that isn't like perhaps an Israeli diplomat. That's not necessarily anybody that's representing the United States there. But Elizabeth, let me go to you first here. What is the significance here of maybe that moment, or in general of him coming here to the United States?
The significance is that it's a humiliation to America. Some Israelis would take it as a humiliation to Netanyahu and to Israel. And I can understand that. But first and foremost, it is a crushing blow to the prestige of the United States of America, to the understanding of how we treat our allies. National security and global political, relationships are very much based on either on friend and foe, or enemies, and how we treat our friends and how we treat our enemies. And we have failed so colossally. And so it's me and it's you and it's everyone who's watching this. It's every American. It is a shame and a humiliation upon us. It is like the pullout of Afghanistan. It is like the FBI and the collusion between the White House and, so many nefarious actors. It's like the J13, and today it's just one long train of humiliation, because you know what? Saudi Arabia looks at this and everybody else around the world and says, okay, can I trust the United States to have my back, have my six when I need it? And what they're taking away from I almost said Obama, from the Biden administration, from Harris, is that no, America will flip on a dime, and I am outraged.
Yeah,
as you can tell.
No doubt. Yeah, and we're already seeing reactions on the stream here. Some angry emojis popping up on my end. I see that. David, you're on the ground there in Israel, and you have an article up at WND.com explaining this visit, explaining kind of the current temperature of the Prime Minister's I guess his reputation here in America, as well as back home in the country that you're in at the moment. What can you tell us? Can you walk us through where we are currently with the Prime Minister?
I mean, there's different ways of looking at his visit. That he comes at a time, obviously, in American domestic political history that's very challenging, to say the least. In Israel, there are members of the hostage families who didn't want him to go before a deal had been penned with Hamas to release the hostages. And he has a coalition that is somewhat unpopular, to say the least. And he himself can be seen as a divisive figure. There are still people who will vote for him. I saw something today about how people even in the very north of the country, and let's not forget that they have been internally displaced in Israel, excuse me, they've been evacuated from their homes for the last 8 months, and the likelihood is that they would still vote for him even given the situation. There are people who think of this as a political opportunity for him. He always sees the opportunity. I think that's, whatever you think of him, he's a very slick political operator, and his being invited back to speak before both houses of Congress is another feather in his cap. So he has two audiences. He has the US audience, where he's going to try and lay out his policies to some extent, and then there's also the Israeli domestic scene that he's speaking to.
Now, right now, there's like I said, we're keeping tabs on when this speech might start. What do you think he's going to focus on most? Will it be this, the aggression and the war going on with Hamas and the terrorist organizations there and the pro-Palestinian forces, or will he try to take a more global approach? Where do you think he's going to focus?
I mean, I've seen reports that it will be a statesman-like address. And before we came on air, we were talking about the difference between what this might be and what he did in 2015, when there were really huge disagreements between the Israeli government and the Obama administration, who are trying to pen the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal. It's likely that he can't not. Obviously, he's going to talk about the war, the situation with Hamas, also what's going on with Iran and the wider region, their terrorist proxies. You have the Houthis in Yemen and Hezbollah in Lebanon, which is going to be a big focus, I think. So I think that's probably what he's going to be. And for sure, he's going to be talking about the hostages. I mentioned that they wanted to, I think even in my article, I mentioned that they wanted his first words to be, "There is a deal." I don't think that he's going to do that. But for sure, he's going to mention the hostages too. And I think they need to be remembered in all of this. There are at least 120 people, whether all of them are alive, we don't know, but they're in captivity in Gaza somewhere. And I think he's definitely going to be highlighting that and talking about them.
Yeah, great. David Brummer, of course, Middle East editor for WorldNetDaily. Josh, the hostage situation is obviously a top of mind for a lot of folks, and as I understand it, there's a lot of Americans that are there. There's people from all over who call their home country somewhere other than Israel that have been captured there. Is that true? Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, David, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's still a lot of hostages that are unreleased. Do you know the number for that?
120
of Americans, or do you mean in total?
Just in total.
There's somewhere around 116 to 120 that are still in captivity.
Yeah,
and
that's
we know
unbelievable. That's how long has it been?
It's almost 300 days now. It's 292 days, I think now.
Yeah.
There are 8. I think there are 8 Americans. We know that 5 are still alive. So I think 3, and the IDF understands are no longer alive. But still, they want to get bodies, and they want to get actual living people out as well. And they obviously need to be remembered in all of this.
I think that something that many Americans have taken note of, like myself, is that 45 Americans died on October 7th. 45. And no one ever speaks of that out of the Biden administration. And we know lots of names like George Floyd, right? That's a name we all know. But we don't know the names of the hostages. And I wonder if Netanyahu will bring up these hostages. Well, I'm sure that he will, and the dead. But I wonder the tone or the way he's going to bring it up, because I'm shocked that as the United States of America, the power that we have, that we wouldn't have been doing something and speaking harshly from day one. The moment that we knew Americans were dead and Americans were hostage. And this just means from an American political standpoint, every country has to defend their own. And I don't know why we have not done more, and why the Biden administration, Biden particularly, has not come out and basically threatened Hamas. That I've just never heard that. Have you, anyone?
Well, I mean, the reason, of course, being is the temperature, the leadership in our country has kind of lost its way when it comes to their traditional support of Israel and its leadership. And I think right now, David, on top of your article, you quote Dick Durbin, Senator Dick Durbin, I believe he's a senator, who says, "I will stand by Israel, but I will not stand and cheer for its current prime minister." I mean, this prime minister has been back and forth and been the head of Israel for many, largely my adult life, and he's always been very popular. And so this is quite a turn that we're seeing. What do you think? Why do you think the American reaction is so different right now?
Well, I think the Democrats have to play to, they feel like they're playing to their base, which is increasingly hostile to Israel and the Jewish people. I mean, I think that has to be said really clearly because it's obvious. And, whether it's the 250,000 Palestinian Americans in Michigan or whatever it is, they see Netanyahu as a identifiable and clear kind of bogeyman. They say that they don't like him. They don't agree with the way the prosecution of the war, and this is a way to show their displeasure. The fact that there's almost 30 of them not attending the speech today is really shameful.
Yeah, it is. And we actually have some footage in the Capitol this week. Was this today? Was this earlier today or yesterday, Josh?
Yesterday and today.
Yeah. There are protesters that have. I don't know. Are we supposed to? Can we call it an insurrection? but let's show this video of these folks wearing these red shirts that have occupied the center, the rotunda of the Capitol here. Yeah, quite a remarkable scene once again, which we don't normally see in the Capitol, and as you said, David, the Democrats have really embraced the Free Palestine section of the wing here, wing of the party. Okay, I mean, again, we're going to be keeping tabs on this speech. Maybe we'll carry some of it live when it happens. But Elizabeth, is there anything that you're expecting?
Well, I wanted to mention one thing about the word divisive.
Sure, yeah.
Netanyahu is divisive, and I'm not saying that there's nothing ill to say about him. There's nobody that I know that you can't find fault with, and especially a politician. But we have grown, those who believe in America first, MAGA, conservatives, Christian conservatives, whatever, to see the word divisive as just almost a joke. When Trump came into office, for his 4 years, he was supposedly divisive, and he's still been divisive these last 3.5 years. The reality is the Democrats attacked him now for 7.5 years, and so he became divisive mostly because of the opposition demonizing him. And I'm not going to speak to particular things about Netanyahu, because there's always a reason that you can legitimately complain about an action that a politician takes. And I mean that sincerely. But to demonize him as the woke, leftist, communist, socialist, intersectionality guys, whatever in Israel that they are doing to Netanyahu, I think is indefensible. They are actually calling for his death. They are literally at rallies calling for his death. And I find this as shameful as I do when the Democrats do it here in the United States of America. So as far as divisiveness, I'd say that the left has developed an extraordinary talent and acumen in making anyone who opposes their weakness or their woke ideology as divisive.
Yeah, well, let's look at. We have video here. We have video of people outside protesting, as well as what happened at the Watergate Hotel. Which, if you're squeamish, I'm going to give you a bit of a warning now. But let's look at some of this footage that happened out there. Josh, what are we seeing? What is this stuff?
Well, I can't see it yet. I'm waiting to see it.
I can do.
There we go. Well, it looks pretty peaceful.
It's mostly peaceful. Yes,
mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful. Yeah, and this again is outside where?
Is it outside of the oh, here we go. A little bit of a. This is outside the hotel, I believe.
This is outside the Watergate Hotel. And then let's go to the clip inside. Like I said, it's a little squeamish. Let's go to the clip inside. And this is inside. Apparently somebody put maggots and cockroaches in the hotel as a way to protest the prime minister.
How is it that after the attempted assassination of the president of the United States, the Secret Service, which is charged with overseeing and is responsible for the security of Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, our greatest ally and always will be, that the security that they have at the Watergate Hotel allows bloodthirsty maniacs, demented maniacs, to enter into that hotel, go into their conference room, and have the time to be dispersing maggots and worms and other foul creatures, because I don't like bugs. But anyway, around there. What about the security collapse here? That is a key question that we should be asking. It's not just disgusting. It is an outrageous failure of security by the Secret Service. Mm-hmm. And in the wake of the assassination attempt, and that every single politician in the world, especially heads of state, is worried about their safety right now. And for good reason, because these things usually lead to more assassination attempts. And yeah, I'm just shocked. The one thing you did not show that I would like to give, to just read what this one horrible human being said, is that we're going to kill you all. I'm trying to find it in my feed here. We're going to kill you, Netanyahu. We're going to kill you all. And they were speaking about Jews, not supporters of Netanyahu, not his, the right wing of his party, but all Jews. And this is a threat in front of the Watergate Hotel. This is what we're facing by the left in America and in Israel, unfortunately.
Yes, there's no words to describe what really is what we're devolving into here. Okay,
I'm sorry. Let me just say this real quick. I finally found it.
Oh, sure.
Allahu Akbar, Hamas, Jewish mother somethings. We're going to kill all of you. This is the peaceful protest.
David looks familiar with this sentence.
Yeah. So let me just jump in there, because I don't know if everyone's aware, but Hamas's charter talks about the destruction of Jews, not just Israel. They want to kill Jews wherever they can find them. I'm thinking now, sort of like with the Olympic Games in Paris, like I would imagine the threat levels, especially to the Israeli athletes, competing or about to be competing there is extraordinary. So it should be clear that when Hamas say, whether they're in Canada, whether they're in Washington or wherever they are, when they say they want to kill Jews, you should believe them, because that's exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, David, we know it's late where you are, so we want to thank you for joining us. Stay safe out there, and we'll always look forward to reading your reports out of Israel. WND.com, and also we've been flashing his X account on screen, so be sure you follow David here. David, thanks for joining us.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right. Josh, we know people are commenting. We want them to follow us on all of our social media and everything. Let's give a quick rundown of where folks can do that as we welcome Joe into the program.
Yeah, my normal pitch, guys. Everybody try to go to our Rumble, which is just WorldNetDaily. I always forget it, man. WorldNetDaily. And also you can follow us on X. We love X because it does not censor us. We're here on YouTube and Facebook right now, which censor us all the time. So Rumble and X, we would love you to go over there. You can find us at WorldNetDaily on both.
Okay, great. Well, let's bring in Joe Kovacs into this conversation as we move forward here, because Biden has reappeared. Joe.
Miracles never cease. You know.
Yeah. Walk us along here. What happened? Where'd he pop up?
Well, he has been, for the past few days, anyway, before yesterday, AWOL. We've all thought of that game or those books, Where's Waldo, or Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Well, the big question was, where is Joe Biden? And we can all remember in the last campaign against Trump 4 years ago, he basically stayed in his basement the whole time. And was he ever going to emerge onto the campaign trail? And when he did, he had 12 to 15 people show up at his campaign rallies, and half of those were media in these giant circles that they had because of the COVID thing. You remember those photos with the big circles, and every member of the media was in their own little circle to protect them. Anyway, there was mystery for the past few days about where is Joe Biden? How come he's not speaking? And the other day, mysteriously, he put out this statement that he was not going to run for re-election for the good of the Democratic Party and for the good of the country. He feels it's best for him to stand down, and everyone's saying, oh, what a majestic move. This will be one of the greatest moves for democracy and America in American history. But I just want to remind you, just 18 hours before that, a letter mysteriously popped up on the internet. He posted a note with a video of Donald Trump saying that he himself, Joe Biden, was in this to win it. It's 18 hours before the famous letter saying that he's out. So Yesterday, finally, going to the airplane, he shuffles out of the car. We presume it's Joe Biden. I mean, animatronics are so good these days that you never know when it's actually a person or not. But somebody that resembled Joe Biden shuffled out of the limousine and headed to the airport. And it looked like he had no clue whatsoever what was going on. And some questions were shouted to him like, how you feel, Mr. President? Or Mr. President, why did you drop out of the race? And he's looking around like he has no idea where he is. Like, what?
When did I drop out of the race?
Exactly. When did I drop out is the question. Does he know that he dropped out? Or is this a game because he has to go along with the mantra now or the narrative? Is this a game that he's actually looking even more confused or dazed than he has been for the past 4 years, which is a difficult task to pull off. But he's actually pulled it off, in my opinion, because it looked like he had no idea what planet he was on yesterday when he finally surfaced.
Yeah, well, we have that clip. It's clip number 4. Let's watch this. It's short, but let's watch what you so eloquently.
Why did you drop out, Mr. President? Why did you drop out of the election? Was it a difficult decision to make?
Who cares?
I noted his Secret Service is as tall as he is.
That's right. Yeah, good.
Even the woman.
Good observation.
His ears might have looked.
But guys, this is a really, really serious story. There are so many aspects of this story that probably too numerous to really mention. But the fact that he signed supposedly that document without appearing before the American people is a shocking and a very worrying event, because many people speculate, and of course we're speculating because the information is not forthcoming, that he may not even have signed. Most certainly he didn't write it. It is not on official White House letterhead. It's just on his personal. His signature, I spent some time analyzing. It is bizarre. Have you looked at his signature?
Well,
Anybody?
we have a story that shows a number of signatures over the years, but this signature on this paper does not look like.
I'm a handwriting person. I mean, I really believe in cursive and signatures and things like this, and teaching people this. So this is my thing. This signature was so unlike Joe Biden's that it is very, very, I don't know, concerning. Somebody should be a little curious about it. He underlines his name, which I have not seen before. And on his last 5 executive orders, his name is not underlined. The first initial is about a half or less the size of the rest of the name, Biden. He also dropped Junior. How do you do something like that? People don't just drop that aspect of their signature. The B is nothing like. It is as if, an alien wrote the B. And I could go on. I won't bore you with it. But that signature is either it is so dramatically changed and they're using just an auto signature on everything that he signs now, which could be the case. But because of his mental acuity, his dementia, whatever, it could have changed that much. Would have been, if people had noticed this over the last 3.5 years, they would have said something about it. And so maybe it's been kind of hidden, or maybe that wasn't his signature at all, because it is freakishly.
Yeah. No,
different.
you're right. You're right.
We don't have that image up, I don't think, but yeah.
But Josh, should we seriously be discussing lizard people at this point? I mean, are we at the lizard people part?
I didn't really nail it. Okay.
Yeah. I saw a great piece by Brett Weinstein, and he kind of addressed this idea that, the last few days there's been like this huge. I mean, he thought it was a psyop, that the very strange leaks and stories about Joe Biden maybe having a medical emergency, and all of that kind of plays
in Las
into
Vegas.
Yeah, and then there was a report that Air Force One was shaking. It was flying back to Delaware so fast. Oh, here we go. We can see the signatures here.
Yep, there they are. Yep.
Yeah. So
is that line supposed to be a J? It occurred to me just yesterday, finally. I guess that's supposed to be his J. So then you see the R.
In the upper left there?
Yeah. Look at the R. So it's his middle initial, and I should have said the R is like this. And then the underline. And where's the junior? And by the way, okay, I'm pointing at my screen here, but look at the last letter of Biden. That looks like an S.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's more than one who's the president, obviously. There's
right.
Jill.
Maybe that's.
Can't forget Dr. Jill.
And he underlined it right here that he remembered.
That is
his own
very
last
unusual
name.
to change like this. This is not. It's either his dementia, or it is not his signature.
Yeah, I mean the other ones could have easily just been robo signatures
that
they had, because they all look.
But
very
that's
identical.
supposed to be his signature. Those robos.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly, somebody at this point, we can see the cognitive decline. We see all this stuff. It's just like at this point, he has yet to say it out loud. I mean, we had that weird press conference where Kamala Harris was talking with Joe on the phone, and she accidentally said the word recording, or she was about to say recording when it was supposed to be live. So it's very bizarre. It's this is very bizarre. And Josh, you brought up the point. Air Force One. The reports were that they got there in less than 4 hours from Las Vegas to the airfield out in the East Coast. There would take be a 5-hour flight. That Air Force One shook as it traveled with this medical emergency there. And this is you can read about that on WorldNetDaily, WND.com. The airplane shook. I mean, this is incredible story, incredible news as we.
I'm just suspicious all the time, Matt. Like, you
and
know what I
should
mean?
be.
Like, they want to fool us. So like everything's like a constant psyop. This felt to me, I was actually watching it going, yeah, they're really setting us up to want to say he died. He doesn't need to die. He kind of already passed away.
Yeah, but we're the ones asking the questions here, and you talk about, Elizabeth, you talked about like who's going to be asking these questions. These are very serious questions at very serious times. Who is running the country? You know, you have a foreign leader who's addressing Congress right now. The president is still nowhere to be seen, and this is a very perilous times, and we're not asking the right questions. And there's people out there that think if the mainstream media doesn't ask the question, that it's not important to ask, and then it makes us look ridiculous.
I think, but I'll tell you what, there is still a huge number of people that are living back in the 1990s and think that the news media in New York and DC, primarily LA, are the real media, and that alternative media like WorldNetDaily and all of our colleagues across the board, that they're not the legitimate media. But I think that the percentage of the population that recognize that the true media, the true journalists, are the ones that are asking these questions has so spiked. And I don't have any data for that, but come on, the dementia gate should follow the news media forever. 60 years from now, 100 years from now, they should be talking about how they covered up this national security crisis.
Matt,
and
I was gonna say it would be awesome to do a poll of the left, not the right. That we know what they think, but I would bet that
because we are the right.
Yeah, I would bet that there's folks on the street right now, if you did a man on the street, that think Kamala is the president now.
Okay.
Because there's not really been, she's now out front, but Biden's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
I bet that people are like, well, isn't she the president? I thought she's the president until the election.
Right.
I saw an interview
a
couple of days ago. It popped up, I think, on X for me. And it was two Israelis, one of which was at the Nova Festival and survived, obviously. And people were coming up to them because they were holding up signs. And it was very interesting. And the people were so empathetic, Americans, when they heard, because they didn't know anything. This beautiful blonde girl, woman, she I think she asked them, several people, do you know what happened on October 7th? And a bunch of people said, no, what happened on October 7th? And that really was one of those moments for me that I thought, okay, this is a good reality check, Elizabeth, because anybody after 9 months who doesn't know the term October 7th, these people are voting. And so we have to remember that we have to reach out to those people more, instead of just talking to each other. We need to be reaching out to the ignorant masses and to Republicans or MAGA or America First people in Democrats to register to vote for Donald Trump. By the way, Netanyahu is going down to Mar-a-Lago to meet with the former and the future president, God willing. And I saw an updated number, and I could be wrong because I just saw it and I didn't investigate it, that not 30 Democrats, but 80 Democrats were boycotting Netanyahu. So the
Yeah.
shame only spreads.
Yeah.
But sorry, I went off on that. But going
No,
back to Biden, Joe's story, and this is a serious constitutional crisis. They're literally coronating a queen or a president, a future president, or a candidate, technically. They're coronating her.
Yeah.
And it's not the people, it's not the Democrats that are putting their, approval on this woman.
Not everyone in the Democrat Party, by the way, or on the political left, is in favor of this. I mean, we all remember the group Black Lives Matter, right? Everyone had those bumper stickers a year or two ago saying Black Lives Matter. And that group just came out against Kamala Harris and the anointing of her. Just a reminder, I think one of her parents is Indian and the other is from Jamaica. So for whatever that's worth.
Did she not qualify?
She checks more boxes than you actually thought she checked.
Right.
But, yeah, it's not across the board that these Democrats, it was like a select few. You had your Nancy Pelosi's out there.
The squad isn't happy.
No, the squad's not happy.
The squad is not happy.
The
And
Obamas never weighed in on this. They just said, oh, it's going to be a wild convention. We're going into uncharted waters.
Right.
So,
but he trusts that they will, I don't know, come to a process that will achieve whatever nirvana for the Democrats. But but I think many people think that Obama and the Clintons and et cetera, Pelosi are behind and have orchestrated all of this. If you look at the timeline of events, when the Biden administration put out that they wanted to do a debate in June, everybody was flabbergasted. You don't do a debate before you actually have the conventions where you have the official nominees. And that debate, most of us are thinking, was in order to set the president up. He fell for it. Now they know there's rumblings in the Biden family that they know that they've been set up so that he would have this colossal failure because they knew this was going to happen. So they hid his dementia for 4 years. And then because it wasn't going to work out, they're going to use the dementia against him. And so they put this all in place to fall from the June, what was it? Where was the date of the
debate? June 27th.
Was it the 27th?
Yes.
Yeah.
The debate?
Yeah.
So there's a coup going on here.
Well, sure, and we're right now we're in the middle of it, so we're still like we're being battered about we're being abused, and it will take many months or years to like go back and see what the timeline was, what everything fit together.
Joe, you need to write a book,
yeah.
or I'll tell David. Somebody's got there'll be many books on this, but we have an attempted assassination, and we have a soft coup, a bloodless coup.
And speaking of the attempted assassination, more fallout is happening as video keeps emerging and questions are being raised by Congress on the Hill. And we've got a couple of videos here that we want to share with you. This is incredible. This is like maybe less than an hour after the shooting. We have body cam footage on top of the roof. The killer, it's blurred out, but the killer, the alleged shooter, is still lying on the top of the roof as a man in a black suit speaks with armed law enforcement. So let's watch this video.
So we don't know. So this is the guy that
yes, that they sent yes, Beaver County sniper team and sent the pictures out. This is him.
Okay. All right.
Right there, obviously.
Got it. So the bike in the back.
It's a 3-minute video.
We don't know. We don't know. So
I
we're
don't
just treating that as suspicious device.
Correct. 1 second. I believe the sniper that seen these and sent.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of like they're in the moment, right? So they're going over the details, but it's incredible that we have body cam footage. So I assume more of this stuff is going to come out if there was more than one guy wearing body cam footage. I hope it all comes out. But again, we're in that kind of fog of war right now.
I just want to point out with that footage that you saw of the roof.
Yeah.
nobody is sliding down off that highly sloped roof. I mean,
Yeah.
it almost looks flat from there, and the body and the gun. There's no sliding going on. But also,
the
what was
question.
shown in that
Go ahead.
video, the Secret Service agent is corroborating with the Beaver County law enforcement officers there about the photos that were shared among law enforcement before before any shots rang out. They were sharing photos, and they're looking at oh yeah, that's the photo that our sniper took from over there at that window across the way. So they knew all this way in advance, and nothing was done. The president was allowed to take the stage, and the rest is history.
Well, I'll tell you
that's
that
the main point.
There's a couple other things about this clip, and I don't know that it was worth showing the whole clip, but because I was trying to separate the background noise. There was a lot of background noise that was interfering with the following the narrative or the exchange. But well, I don't know if you can go back to the video with us all on the screen, but what I noticed with this guy is that he had, the alleged shooter, is that he had a bullet hole through his leg and out of his leg. And the reason I bring that up, and I'm not an analyst here. I'm just telling you my observation. When I first saw it, the leg, I saw the unblurred version, and it was so bizarre because here's the leg, here's the leg, and there's a bullet going in the leg here and out, or bullet holes. And it took me a while to figure that out. I think I'm being accurate with that. If that's the case, I think we were told that there was just one shot, or is there more than one shot from the counter sniper? Because
we've been told there's one.
Then I don't know that it could actually go into his leg and out of his leg as well. That's just something for other people to take a look at. But the number two thing, or maybe it's really the number one thing, Christopher Wray testified that they found 8 shell casings on that roof. I don't believe that necessarily. I find that I don't believe it. I believe that the audio analysis that has been done clearly shows that there are two guns being fired among those 8, let's just say. And then in this clip, he keeps referring to the sniper at the window. So we were told that there were 2 men stationed in the second floor of that building right behind the sniper's lair, or, the building. I can't remember the name of the company. They had oversight onto the roof where he was laying. Now, they left at some point, but and why they would do that, I don't know. That's a huge question. But if they had seen him on that roof and took a picture, that means that there were snipers in that room. And some have shown through the audio and visual reconstructions that one of the ways to have 2 snipers shooting, to make it sound right, it has to be from the same distance, but it still shows that there's 2 different guns being shot, would be that they would come from that building and be shooting from that window. These are speculations and analysis. This isn't fact yet, but it's just something to think about.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the point about that Ray testified today that there were the number of shell casings, because yesterday during the hearing or 2 days ago, I think it was, the hearing with Cheadle, a representative was grilling her on this point, and it just showed how they stonewall the American people. This is an incredible exchange here. I'd love to watch the whole thing.
You keep referring to the FBI. When asked how many shell casings were on the roof, You referred to the FBI. When asked if there were explosives in the car, you referred to the FBI. When asked if Crooks was acting alone, you referred to the FBI. See a common theme here? I can go on and on. My question is, who at the FBI should I speak with? Wait for it. Wait for it.
The FBI is responsible for the criminal
Is there a
investigation.
name?
I'm not certain.
I'm not certain.
Who
All
at the
right, here we go.
FBI
I'm
is
not
running the
certain. I
investigation.
don't know. Let me ask a different question. Have you been in communication with the FBI?
Yes, I have.
With whom?
I speak with the director and the deputy director.
Okay. And what have they shared with you about this investigation? So I'll give you an opportunity to answer again. Did they share with you how many shell casings were on the roof?
They have shared with me the
Did
evidence
they
they've collected.
share with you how many shell casing were on the roof?
Yes.
Okay. How many were there?
I would refer to the FBI for their
How
investigation
many were there?
and their information that they need to share in their investigation.
So they've shared the information with you. You just don't want to share the information with us, correct?
We have concurrent investigations that are going on.
So they have shared this information with you. You know the answer to the question. You just refuse to answer the question from the member of Congress who has subpoenaed you to be here. Is there a different answer to that question?
I was always willing to come here and testify before this oversight hearing.
Beautiful. Then let's
Wasn't a-
do
that
that.
was
Let's
necessary.
for once have your actions match your words. So you've been in communication with the FBI. You know the answers and you refuse to tell us the answers. So I will ask you again. You know how many shell casings were on that roof. What is the answer to that question?
I think it's pertinent to
What
talk-
is the answer to that question?
I think it's pertinent to talk to you about the information that the Secret Service has and that the Secret Service knows related
I'm
to the
asking
events
you
on
an
that day.
answer to the question. If you're supposed to be in charge, if the buck stops with you, how come you can't share the answers? What are you covering up? What are you hiding, my friend?
I'm not covering anything else.
Then why can't you answer a simple question?
I would leave it to the criminal investigation to answer questions related to that.
Wow. I mean, she's clearly a mom, right? I mean, that was like
I
a mom
love
scolding a child. I mean, yeah, and she, I mean, it was cathartic. It was cathartic for me to have that happen. Joe, where are we right now? Where do you think we are right now with this who's going to be held accountable? I mean, Cheadle's gone now. Does that mean everybody's supposed to just be like, okay, we got rid of somebody and that's fine? I mean, where should we be aiming our focus here? I mean, Ray's on the Hill today. Where should we go?
Well, first of all, I just want to remind people that Kimberly Cheadle was adamant when she testified that she was not going to resign, that she was in this because she wants to improve the agency and make sure it never happens again. But after that absolute furious day where everybody said she should be fired, she's an embarrassment, she's a disgrace, the reason, in my humble opinion, that she resigned is, you have to live your life every day, and you don't want to live it when you're walking out on the street and having people shout at you what a disgrace you are and that you have to resign. And this would be her life had she not resigned. So I think after that, she probably got home and said, I do not want to live another day like this. So she took the heat off herself. So now it's going to be whoever is in charge at the Secret Service who's going to move up. I don't know if we have any names yet of somebody who's going to be in charge, but we do have the FBI Director, Christopher Wray, testifying on behalf of the FBI at Congress today on Capitol Hill. So maybe he'll be more forthcoming. I saw a little bit of the hearing before coming on the show. But remember, we had Mike Benz on the program last week, and he said the FBI is where evidence goes to die. So the FBI has not been very forthcoming in many of their investigations. So, we as a nation need to hold people accountable and get to the answers ourselves. Keep putting the pressure on people because these, I hate to use the word clowns, but clowns in Washington they're just, it's like they're working against the will of the people. I mean, they're paid by us. We paid their salaries. So we need serious investigations, throw people in jail who don't answer the question. There's dereliction of duty, there's cover-ups going on, and it seems like nothing is ever done to these people who are just hiding what we need to know.
Yeah, well put. Well put,
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
and that Ray was refreshing, believe it or not, because at least he answered some questions. But I literally, at one point, because I was listening to every word, taking copious notes throughout the hearing this morning, and I finally thought, well, my brain's going to explode. I need a break. So I just muted the volume and stopped. That's how bad it was, because, I mean, we got a little bit of information. I thought that the Democrats were so egregiously partisan and pathetic in their performance that what would make sense is, because they didn't want any information on the assassination. I would say 19 out of 20 questions had to do with violent Republicans, MAGA, Project 2025, the Second Amendment, trying to get rid of AR style firearms. It was a joke. So you couldn't follow along. And this was, probably Ray, I don't want to mischaracterize him, but probably Ray is happy about that. And he refused to go down the road of the partisan road with them, but at least it distracted from him having to answer 3 or 4 times as many questions. And so it was a shameful performance. And what I'm going to do is go through and just listen to the Republicans who asked real questions about the assassination investigation. The question that I have is, no one has brought up his parents and what they have said. Has something happened to them? Are they being treated as potentially co-conspirators? Have they been arrested? Are they at home in a hotel? Does anybody on this panel know?
I mean, these are all good questions. I know there's been a few remarks made by them in the investigation, but these are all
but I
good,
haven't
these are all
seen
good
anything
questions.
significant. And the other thing is that I found very interesting is the Democrats are so afraid, I think, of being shot themselves, but they also want to dilute the intention of the shooter, Crooks, because they want it to be they're hoping it's Jodie Foster you want to impress. That's like their goal, to make it about Jodie Foster. But the reality is they kept asking, did he have pictures of Democrats there? I'm shortchanging it. And the FBI director said and he had to repeat this multiple times because they didn't like the answer. The photos of political persons on his computer were merely cached photos. So when you go to a news story, if you have a picture of, Schiff in the news story, it downloads into your cache folder. That's all. So he didn't have he wasn't going to go out and start killing Democrats, which is what they are probably hoping the storyline would be, the narrative.
Right. Okay. Well, we're coming up on the top of the hour here. The Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, has been speaking in front of Congress. We've been posting clips over on Twitter, and this one, let's leave on a high note here. He cracked a great joke, and so if we have this clip ready here, let's hear this great joke when it comes to. Is that it there? Yeah.
Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
He threw out a KFC joke?
These protesters chant from the river to the sea. Some of these protesters.
Very good. All right.
Nice.
I also want to note who's sitting behind him, because normally it would be the Speaker of the House and the Vice President, but it looks like there was two men behind him. So once again, the Vice President is there. I don't know if that's normal, but
the Vice President is supposed to be sitting in the chair,
right? I mean,
so they just put somebody else there.
Yeah,
I didn't even see.
Yeah. That's
I was
normal
thinking
people
about
think she's
KFC
president.
and kosher chicken, KFC and things like that.
Yeah.
So you're looking good.
All right. Well, once again, folks, go over to the WND, the Twitter, the WorldNetDaily X. God, we got to get the tweets, their X's, their posts, whatever they are. Just follow this account and share all this stuff. I mean, Elon, he like dead named Twitter, right? We can't even call it Twitter anymore. Like, it's just so bizarre. Right. Anyway, Josh, where else can people follow? You're much better at doing this than I am.
Yeah, guys, please follow us on Facebook. Of course, go to WND.com or WorldNetDaily.com, and you're going to see all these great articles that the folks are putting up over there. Our YouTube channel, we'd love you to follow us there, WorldNet Daily. You can also just search WND News, and that'll pop up. And then, of course, Rumble, which we are steadily growing our Rumble numbers. We need you to go over there. That's the best place to find us, and that's going to be WorldNet Daily as well. And all of this will stream live there. And, of course, if you follow us on X, you're going to see all the latest updates. We're beating everybody to the punch on these. We're reporting extremely fast there with all the breaking news, and we'll try to head off the psyops as they come out, since those seem to be unrelenting.
Yeah, that's right. All right, folks. We'll be back here on Friday. We want to thank David Brummer for joining us from Israel as well. But on behalf of Joe, Elizabeth, and Josh, we thank you for joining us, and we'll be back here on Friday. Have a great rest of the week.
Poor hubby.
Not